So I'm throwing this in front of the video that I made to start off my trip. Because when I started the trip, I'm to say, you know, trailering sucks. Well, guess what? I finished the trip. It took hours longer, and I can't tell you how much trailing really sucks. Now, granted, with my Tundra, I stopped twice as many times when I towed my boat than when I didn't. But when I stopped, you know, it was for 10 minutes to fill up the truck with gas. This, you know, you're charging for 40 minutes, an hour, because you're going through battery if you're going over the speed limit. So I'm going to talk to you about this in the rest of the video. Keep your speeds down because trailering sucks. So here, watch the video on trailering sucks. Hi, it's Mark from Mark of the Cyberbeast. Today is towing sucks. So I've got my Cybertruck and I've got a 6x12 U-Haul trailer behind it. Now, I want to talk to you about a couple things about this episode. We'll be filming right here at the U-Haul location for a few minutes this morning. We're going to go and load up at GEI Works. Then we're going to be on our way. Now, one of the things I've told you guys before in some of our other videos is to always get a hitch receiver that has multiple size balls. And the reason why that is because most small trailers are 1 7/8, but some like this one are 2-inch. So rather than buying multiple receivers, you get the one that has 3 different balls on it, and you're good to go with all 3 sizes, 1 7/8, 2, and 2 5/16. Now, I set up the U-Haul profile for the weight and size of this trailer in the other episode of Trailering 101. U-Haul went ahead and hooked up the trailer for me. There is a brake test mode where you hit the button and it'll do all the right, left brake for them. U-Haul still wanted me to do the manual, press on the brake, right directional, left directional, and so forth. But it's got automatic hydraulic brakes, but it's a 4-wire system, which means that it's not going through the 4 wires for braking. That is a 7-blade type. So when I put the brakes on, this has its own little braking system that it does independent of me putting on my brakes. So they're 2 separate systems. I've set up the profile so that when I slow down, it'll use regenerative braking more because I plan to fill this thing up with seaweed barrier, about 2,500 pounds of seaweed barrier. So it's going to be heavy, okay? Now I put my destination in for Alamorada, and it originally said 1 stop because it's a 250-mile drive. But as we know, I'm towing, and towing sucks. So I'll be stopping probably 2 or 3 times because I'm betting I'm going to get about 100 miles per charge, maybe 1 1/4, right? So roughly 2 stops, probably a short 3rd stop. And that's going to be what I find out when I go to my next location, GEI Works, once I'm loaded up. Once I'm driving, Tesla's going to recalculate everything, and it's going to let me know, hey, you need to stop here, you need to stop here. It's about, I don't know, maybe 9 o'clock or so in the morning. We're going to do another time check once I get everything loaded up. I have about a 5-minute drive till we go to our next stop. But looking forward to see what kind of drive we have ahead of us. Always check your tires. I just glanced over at these over here, and the tires over here, these 4 tires all look brand new. So I think it should be in a good shape with U-Haul. I've had great experiences with the U-Haul for the most part. Never been found on roadside dead, but there's always a first, right? Mark, don't jinx yourself. So I'm fully charged, 300 miles in the tank, so to speak, and lots of electrons, but not enough when you're towing. So let's go to our next stop. Okay, it's Mark of the Cyberbeast. Here I am at GEI Works. We've loaded the trailer with seaweed boom, about 300 feet of seaweed boom. And it's not light. 4 guys to pick each one of them up, and there's several of them in there. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of electrons being burned using the trailer on this, but again, it's something where I've trailered almost my entire life. In fact, when I was about 18 years old, maybe 19, 18 or 19, I actually used to drive straight job trucks, about 24, 26-foot trucks through the streets of Manhattan for my uncle doing deliveries. So I was used to backing in downslope, dark tunnels, so to speak, underneath buildings for the deliveries. So with doing that, and heck, just driving a straight job through the streets of Manhattan, never mind backing it up into loading docks, is a feat in and of itself. I've been towing boats and jet skis, shit, 25, 35 years, oh no, shit, 40 years, right? Because I'm 57, woo! So, this should be an uneventful trip, we'll see. I'm just gonna back it on out of here. I'm gonna take a look, and we're gonna keep you updated with the FSD. We're actually gonna use the GoPro cameras. We're not gonna use FSD, we use the GoPro cameras, and I'm gonna show you just how much battery charge this thing is gonna suck up. And then we're gonna do some stops when we charge the battery, because we're gonna charge at least 2 times, possibly a good 3rd time. And we'll be down in the sunny Florida Keys, where once we get down there, I'll have my own charger I can charge up, and we'll be sitting pretty. So, I'm on my way to drive safe, and I'm gonna call my wife right now and tell her I'm on my way. Stop number 1 was supposed to be in Delray Beach at 12. Instead, I'm at Port St. Lucie an hour before. I was supposed to stop at 12. I'm stopping here at 11 at Port St. Lucie. Evidently, this thing's a little heavy, and it's got a lot of wind resistance, because as I'm driving, I'm watching the miles on my battery just move, like in real time. So here I am charging for about 15 minutes at Port St. Lucie. I did not check the map, but I am betting I'm charging at least 2 more times. This battery is not liking the heavy load. So, you know, when I used to use my Tundra and I towed my pontoon boat or a heavy trailer, I got half the mileage. So I was getting about 19 miles to the gallon, maybe 20 on a good day. But I get about 10 miles a gallon if I would tow with my Tundra. Now, just so you know, I have cruise control set, because I can't do FSD. Cruise control set at 78 miles an hour. That is not helping me. If I had it set for lower, the speed limit here is 70. If I had it set for maybe 72 or 70, I'd probably be getting a little bit more of a stretch. But at 78, I am going through electrons fiercely. So, but I am gonna get there a little quicker than going 70. So that's what I'm doing. I'll be stopping here for 15 minutes. I'm gonna call the wife and check in. Maybe watch the little Vikings. I just took the dog for a walk. And this is gonna be a lot of charging on the way to the Keys, but it saves me $3,000 in shipping, so there is that. Alrighty guys, see you at the next stop. Hey, it's Mark from Mark of the Cyberbeast. I am at the Pompano Beach, Coconut Creek Service Center, and you can say anything you want about Tesla superchargers, but they are the frickin' best. Look, you got what, about 8 or 10 chargers over there. Almost all are in use, which means I cannot pull through with my trailer. So now I have to use this crappy FPL Evolution setup, which, by the way, of the 4 they have, one of them is down. To top it off, you have to download their app, go ahead and set up an account to set up the service. Luckily, they do accept like Google accounts, so I set up my Google account. And it took 3 times to plug it in and out, restart the app before I finally got it to charge my truck. And evidently, the speed at which it charges must suck pretty bad because, let's see, an hour and 20 minutes. Now granted, I have 60 miles of battery left, and it wants me to go, I think, almost or completely to a full charge. So I have to go 200 and, let's say, 40 miles. Normally at a Tesla charger, that's less than an hour. It's probably 30, 40 minutes. I'm gonna be here for an hour 20 because this is not a Tesla charger and it sucks. So as a result, I've been walking my dog. I guess there's a service area here. I can go to the bathroom, probably get some food, but I already had someone give me some lip service for blocking 3 of the chargers because I have a trailer. And I explained to him I have a trailer, and he said, well, you've got a Tesla, use the Tesla chargers. I can't, there's no opening for that. You know, that's the problem right now. We've got trucks, we've got Model Ys that can pull a trailer, and we don't have any pull-through chargers. That's going to be something we're going to have to address in the EV community. So this is the last stop before we get to Alamorada. We have about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of driving. It said I will arrive with a 20% battery life. I tried to bring it to 10% so I have to charge here as long. It didn't like that. When you're towing a trailer, it wants to have a higher degree of error. So as a result, I'm gonna be here for a while charging up. Not my idea of fun, sitting in basically a truck stop on the interstate, but life could be worse. Now, I should probably go double check my trailer, make sure everything's closed and secure, but yep, everything's looking good. Just want to make sure nothing shifty in travel. Hang on. All right. Nope, all good. Some of the barriers actually did shift a little bit towards the rear, but that's okay, because I am going to have to take it out myself, and that's never an easy chore when it weighs that much, but that'll be my workout for today. So I'll be here for a while. Like I said, when you charge, when you tow with an EV, you definitely have to charge her a lot more than you realize. But then again, with my Tundra, normally I'd get 300 miles on the tank. I'd get about 150, 160 when I was towing my boat. So no different, except instead of stopping for 10-15 minutes to get gas, I'm stopping for an hour and frickin' 20 because I can't get into a Tesla charger. So that's it for today, guys. I'm gonna get to my destination. We'll do one quick video and I'm gonna charge up and call it a day. So stay tuned. Okay, it's Mark of the Cyberbeast with an unexpected stop. So what happened was the previous location using that FPL charger was crap. It was really slow. I was going to be there actually 2 hours, but a service tech came to repair the one that was out, and I had to move my vehicle. So I had to stop charging, move my vehicle, went to charge it again, and that charger went out. So I decided to use the charger next to it. That charger stopped working. So 3 of their 4 chargers were not working. I waited there for about half an hour to try to see if anything would open up, because I really didn't have much battery life. So I went to my navigation. I selected superchargers near me. I found one in Miramar, it's about 10 miles away. I chose this one because it had 16 stalls and it said 8 were open. It's actually a busy location. If you look, pretty much all Model 3s, a couple Model Ys, everything's full. So there's 2 spots that are open, but luckily they didn't have a drive-through one. They've got these parking bumpers here, but it was enough where I could at least hop over it and charge this way. So I'm gonna have to need to get some assistance backing out of here, but at least I was able to kind of pull through, taking up 2 spots. But I'm gonna probably throw it in reverse and get out of here, because I don't think going straight is going to be a smart move with the trailer and the narrow opening I have. But at least I had something that was open that I could use. I should almost have enough to get down to where I'm going. Navigation says I'll have about 12% left. I know of 2 chargers along the way in Key Largo that I can stop at if I do need to top it off. It all depends really how I drive. I'm probably gonna keep it at around 75 if I'm lucky, but it's now after 3 o'clock in South Florida, which means traffic. And I'll be lucky if I go 55 miles an hour. So it says I have a 2-hour drive to go. We'll see how I make out. I'm gonna give up charging in just a few minutes and cross my fingers I don't have to stop and charge in Key Largo. So, trailering sucks. That's why I called this episode Trailering Sucks. I have arrived and I've unloaded the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections of sargassum barrier, as you can see here. And you might be wondering, Mark, why do you need a sargassum barrier? Well, see behind me? That's sargassum. That's probably, what would you say, 30 feet deep, and it's probably several inches deep. This is going to take much machinery to remove, and what's gonna happen is the boom is gonna be out there, keep all the seaweed out there. Saw a couple brethren Cybertrucks. I just realized though it's Peroni o'clock right now. Towing with a Cybertruck does suck. You're driving about 90 minutes or so. Depending how you drive, it could be 2 hours. That last leg of the trip though, I'll say this, I ran into a lot of traffic in Miami, and as a result, my battery lasted a lot longer. So I went about 2 hours without having to charge and got here with like 25% battery. So, you know, a lot of it is just going the speed. And when the speed limit's 65, 70, you have to be going 70, 75 miles an hour just to keep up with the traffic. That's where you're gonna burn your battery. But again, you know, if you can keep it at the speed limit and stay in the right lane, you don't have to go through the headaches of charging that I went through. This was definitely a painful ordeal. Trailering sucks. And that's why I did this video, to tell you that you got to keep your speed down. Keep the lead foot off. You can keep autopilot on, maintain your speed, but you have to use the steering wheel like an old, you know, person, you know, actually driving. Imagine that, go figure. Anyway, I've got my work cut out for me the next week, drilling this into the limestone out in the cove and fastening it. Luckily I'll have help because this is not a one-man job. So, folks, I can't tell you how much I needed this. Trailering sucks. So, before I go, as always, I want you to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you again tomorrow.